Bullets fly millimetres from sleeping children. An innocent family caught up in a shocking arson attack at Eaglevale. A terrifying attempted kidnapping at Warwick Farm. 2 men charged with trying to drag a woman into a car at knife point. Passers-by coming to her rescue. The father and brother of a so-called ISIS bride speak from their Bankstown home and reveal what she'll do as her new life begins in Sydney. Rates hope the inflation update that could mean relief for mortgage holders. A misty morning for Sydney, but the torrential rain is on its way. We've got the latest warnings. And counting down to kick-off, we're live from Accor Stadium for Origin 1.
This is 10 News Sydney with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. A family in Sydney's southwest have been left traumatised after their home was shot up and their car was set alight. The early morning attack, the most recent in a spate of cases of mistaken identity across the city. Police tonight are not ruling anything out, including organised crime, as they hunt those responsible.
A BMW, now a ball of flames. The blaze lighting up Sapphire Place in Eaglevale as the car crackles and pops.
They hit the wrong car.
Just moments earlier, the family home was shot up in another violent case of mistaken identity to rock Sydney. Inside, a woman, her husband and 3 young kids. The bullets narrowly missing 2 of the children.
There was a bullet hole right across that skimmed over their head into the TV and into the roof.
The commotion waking neighbours.
Pretty shaken up. At 4:30 in the morning, that's what you get woken up by, a bunch of gunshots and then a loud bang.
The front of the car is just completely torched and then ended up just smoke, everything, everywhere.
Just 10 minutes earlier, the group were captured on security cameras scoping out the home in an obvious planned attack. But little did they know they had the wrong target. The family only moving in June last year.
Who lived there and who has lived there and who's associated to that location will certainly form part of the investigation.
It took emergency services less than 5 minutes to arrive on scene. But the attackers made a quick escape. The 3 hooded men seen on CCTV are then said to have fled on foot through this park and onto Limonite Place, where that dark-coloured SUV picked them up. The family car destroyed and their home no longer considered a safe place.
You know, my husband's initial first thought was definitely to sell. Doesn't want to be here for a minute anymore.
Police tonight scouring through CCTV, looking for any clue that might lead them to those responsible. An early morning attack that could have had a very different outcome.
And it's only by the grace of God that no one was seriously injured in the exchange.
Zoe Martin, 10 News.
2 men are in jail tonight after allegedly trying to kidnap a woman in a daylight robbery in Sydney's southwest. The 27-year-old pulled over after noticing a flat tyre when she was allegedly dragged by a man holding a knife to her back. Witnesses say she put up the fight of her life to escape her attacker.
A woman sits on the curb of a Warwick Farm street. Her distressed cries indicate the violence she's just endured. The 27-year-old had stopped on Brown Parade after noticing her car's flat tyre when she was ambushed with a knife in an attempted kidnapping.
He punched me and then he dragged me across the whole to the car and he ripped my clothes.
Local John Waters witnessed the woman screaming for help.
I'd have seen him just drag the girl. He just dragged her down and was trying to get her into a car. I've never seen a woman put up a fight like her, never.
The woman managed to escape the man's grasp with the help of Good Samaritans. She was hospitalised, suffering face and leg injuries.
Their bravery and involvement in this incident potentially prevented the incident from escalating further.
2 men have been arrested over the incident, 24-year-old Sayar Elchar and 22-year-old Mohammed Tahirdeen. Both from Auburn, they've been charged with robbery armed with an offensive weapon and aggravated robbery. The alleged attack unfolding at 2:30 in the afternoon.
To try to kidnap someone daytime or any time, not even the daytime, but I think it's not good.
Police will allege the men followed her from this car park 1 kilometre away, where they had been lying in wait for her to exit. Detectives are investigating the theory they slashed her tyres.
We are unable to identify any links to any criminal elements from the victim, and it appears that she is an innocent party in this.
Believing the pair were instead targeting a person close to the woman. Sarah Naven, 10 News.
The family of a so-called ISIS bride who is now living in our city's west has urged people to have a heart, telling 10 News what she plans to do next. 4 women and their children were not arrested upon arrival in Sydney, allowed to leave the airport and begin their new lives.
For more than a decade, Zachariah Zahab hasn't seen his daughter. Now Nesreen is home, back in Bankstown.
A nice thing, very nice thing. Yeah, I missed her a lot.
The young mother and her son among 4 women and 6 children who arrived here last night.
Do you support the Islamic State?
They bypassed the arrivals hall, taken straight to a Mascot hotel after health checks. At Melbourne Airport, more so-called ISIS brides slipped out a side door.
Oi, don't touch me, bro. That's assault.
A photographer shoved by a supporter as more questions are raised about the level of government support for the group.
Well, it's disappointing to see these ISIS members get the gold standard treatment arriving in Australia.
Nesreen Zahab left in 2014. She previously claimed she didn't realise she was going to Syria, but later married an ISIS fighter.
I didn't willingly walk into a war zone, nor did I willingly stay. If anything, I tried to leave all the time.
All the women who returned overnight were allowed to walk free and weren't arrested.
I'm happy. That's my baby sister. They're Australian citizens. Like, come on, have a heart. Be human.
Before she left Australia, Nesreen was going to university. Her family says she wants to return to studying as she attempts to live a normal life.
If you want to cook casseroles for your murdering husband, well, you can just stay over there. You don't come back to Australia.
It's really important not to stigmatise these women, okay? People in life should have a second opportunity for a second chance.
The investigation into the group is continuing. When they arrived, their belongings were searched and their devices screened. Potential clues for counter-terror police piecing together their time in Syria. John Paul Gonzo, 10 News.
The Federal Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, has given a strong indication that the federal government's cut to the fuel excise won't be extended beyond next month. The measure has helped slow inflation, with fresh data out today giving the Reserve Bank reason to hold interest rates steady. But the question is, for how long?
The Reserve Bank's already hiked the cash rate 3 times this year. Economists suspect there are still more to come.
One more looks more like a certainty, and maybe 2.
But not at next month's meeting.
Today's data does probably solidify the market's expectation of a hold in June.
With headline inflation slowing from 4.6% to 4.2% in the year to April, partly because of the cut to the fuel excise. But on an underlying level, the RBA's preferred measure, inflation ticked up from 3.3 to 3.4. The biggest driver was housing, particularly electricity bills.
Inflation and unemployment are going up and Australians are hurting.
Fuel tax cuts are a really important part of putting downward pressure on inflation in the near term.
Automotive fuel prices falling 7% last month, but still 23% higher than before the US-Iran war. And that's driving up the cost of parcel delivery and construction. The fuel excise cut is set to wind up at the end of next month. It's already cost the budget $2.5 billion.
We're not anticipating extending that or expecting to extend it, but we keep it under review.
The federal government's instead focused on its budget tax reform, introducing legislation tomorrow that combines relief for workers with controversial changes for investors.
Their budget is falling apart like a wet woolies bag in a rainstorm.
The Commonwealth Bank boss is the latest to speak out on capital gains tax changes, arguing they should be restricted to passive assets like housing.
I don't think we want to change the incentives towards risk and enterprise and innovation.
This is all
stick and no carrot, and that's the problem.
Addressing business anxiety.
I think something like 9 in every 10 small businesses can access one of the 4 concessions and carve-outs.
The Treasurer bolsters his budget defence. Chloe Bouris, 10 News.
Fog blanketed the city this morning, but this afternoon the state was hit with powerful winds and rain. Let's bring in our own meteorologist, Josh Holt, to please explain. Josh?
Well, we're certainly seeing some severe weather across New South Wales as we go live to air this evening, Sandra. I'll get to that in just a moment, but before we do, let's check out that fog across parts of Sydney first thing this morning. We saw visibilities in some areas get down to around about 50 metres. We did see some delays at Sydney Airport and unfortunately, 2 international flights had to be diverted first thing this morning. One was from Vancouver to Sydney, and after 15 hours being diverted to Brisbane is not ideal. You can see Burwood also looking quite foggy like the harbour first thing. But let's dive into the satellite imagery. Have a look at this distinct line of cloud, and this is actually the result of tropical moisture coming in from the northern latitudes all the way through to New South Wales and even reaching as far south as Tasmania. We actually refer to this as an atmospheric river, and that is combining with some colder air in the upper levels of the atmosphere to cause widespread showers and severe thunderstorms at the moment across New South Wales. Narrabri, a short time ago, saw a wind gust at 106 kilometres per hour, and we also saw areas like Gilgandra pick up 70 millimetres of rainfall in a very short period of time. Narrabri also picked up 18 millimetres quite quickly with those strong wind speeds. So what's happening in terms of Sydney? Of course, state of origin on tonight. We are beginning to see some patchy falls just to the north of the city at the moment. This rainfall should increase as we get through tonight into tomorrow. We hit 23 degrees in the city today, but of course, we'll have the latest on the rain and what we can expect for the big game tonight. Sandra, all coming up 5 to 6.
Can't wait. Thank you, Josh. We'll see you soon. A police task force to combat anti-Semitic behaviour was scaled back and existed in name-only capacity months before the Bondi terror attack. That's what the state's Deputy Police Commissioner told the Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism today, while admitting that a shortfall in new recruits is holding up plans for a new police command set up in direct response to the December 14 mass shooting.
These scenes at the Sydney Opera House in 2023 were the catalyst for Operation Shelter. The police task force was set up to monitor protest activity and soon became a long-term operation to combat hate-related offences, until it was scaled back 2 months before the Bondi terror attack.
So that in effect, Operation Shelter at that time was no longer functioning.
In name only as a capture process.
Something the police minister disputes.
I have been advised that Operation Shelter never ceased.
Deputy Commissioner David Hudson said the task force was reinvigorated in the wake of the deadly attack on December 14, and plans for a new armed response command are still underway that will give specially trained officers access to long-arm weapons while on patrol.
The responsibilities for Shelter will reduce as those responsibilities are taken up by the Armed Response Command.
The new command would comprise of 250 officers, but could still be up to 2 years away as the New South Wales Police Force grapples with a shortage of new recruits. Hudson also told the Commission the force regularly shares relevant intelligence with other security agencies, but it's not always reciprocated.
Other agencies can, on occasions, not be so forthcoming.
More than 13,000 submissions have been made to the Royal Commission. Those who've given evidence say they've been subjected to online abuse.
Absolutely horrific content targeting these people, not for what they've said, but for who they are.
Something the Jewish community says only reconfirms the need for this Royal Commission. Taylor Ryan, 10 News.
Children and teenagers across the state can now access a needle-free nasal spray vaccine following the worst flu season on record. The flu mist is painless and free of charge at GPs and pharmacies for kids aged between 2 and 17 as the government tries to boost vaccination numbers ahead of winter.
The data from the Northern Hemisphere says that it is pretty significant and is pretty widespread. One of the things we're worried about is the long tail. So it's the length of the season, not just the peak.
Over 65s are also being urged to roll up their sleeves, so far fewer than 1 in 2 have received a jab. Well, sport's greatest rivalry ignites in just a couple of hours with the Blues and the Maroons preparing, as always, for a fierce contest in Game 1. Chloe Amanda Bailey is here in her resplendent blue. Obvious, Chloe, the big question. Are the fresh faces actually ready for tonight's big chance?
Absolutely no Blues bias, but of course they are, Sandra. New South Wales has 6 potential debutants tonight. Rugby League reporter Trent Simpson is live at Accor Stadium, and Trent, Blues fans are desperate to finally see a win in Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely they are, Chloe, because the stats don't read well for New South Wales. Despite not winning their last 2 games here, the Blues actually haven't won an Origin opener in Sydney since 2013. So the pressure's on, and that has brought about a call to arms. Despite the threat of rain tonight, the Blues are calling on their fans to be loud and proud.
We know who we represent. There's 9 million New South Welshmen. There'll be 80,000 of them here tonight, and we need all the support we can get. So, yeah, please grab an umbrella. As I said, duck off to the $2 shop, get a poncho and come out and support us.
Now, of course, one of those fans is none other than our Premier, Chris Minns, but today he's shown he's just a little bit out of the loop. In attempts to wish the Blues good luck, he posted online with a picture of Zach Lomax, who, of course, is now playing rugby union. So he deleted that and then has posted another picture. Front and centre is Angus Crichton, who isn't even playing in Game 1 tonight. So hopefully, Chloe, it's not a bad omen for the Blues tonight, but unfortunately, I must admit that New South Wales has lost the political sledge.
We got to believe it's not a bad omen. Thanks, Trent. We'll chat with you a little later on. Also coming up tonight in sport, dubbed the Clayton Oliver Cup by teammates, why Clary says he's treating this weekend's game against the D's like any other. The Aussie battlers wiping the big names out of the French Open. And a dog of a day, a Dodgers prospect injured, dodging the bat dog. All that and more a little later on in sport, Sandra.
Can't wait. Be a fun night. Look forward to it. Thanks, Chloe. Stay with us. After the break, why Westpac has just been slapped with a $26 million fine for failing customers who are doing it tough. The biggest overhaul to welfare in decades. We can detail the major changes coming to how Aussies can access their benefits. The fight to stop this housing block at Waterloo from being knocked down, why the Minister says protesters have simply got it wrong. And a remarkable rescue for 2 people and a dog lost at sea off Queensland.